Ladies and gentlemen, I am Ahmed Tijani, Mr. Cray to the world, St. Paul's Cray, St. Mary Cray, BR5, BR6, Orpington, Bromley Borough, Cray to the fucking world. The intro had to change because Ollie Thompson's daughter told me I swear too much, so therefore there will be no more swearing in my thing. So I'm here working with MMA TV, interviewing the OG, the General, Paul Silver Dollar Dash. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, thank you, mate. A little bit hungry, a little bit tired, but I'm all good. How are you?
Listen, do you know how you fix that? Yeah, instead of fighting at those lower weight classes, you just become fat like me, and then you become a heavyweight, and then you have nothing to worry about, bro.
Trust me, after Saturday, that's exactly the plan.
I like it. So talk to me about this fight on Saturday that you're having. Is this the Muay Thai Mayhem veterans title?
It certainly is, yeah. It's my final fight, my farewell swan song fight. I was due to
It's your last fight?
Yeah, man, I'm old now, mate. I'm old. I need
Do you know what it is? Yeah, it's like ever since I've seen you, you've like dyed your hair silver, so nobody knows how old you are. So,
mate, that's exactly it. Everybody says you got to grow old gracefully. There's no growing old gracefully for me, boy. No, so I had an opportunity. John messaged me and said he wanted to get me on the show for the title. It's kind of what I wanted, really. I wasn't sure. The last fight I had, the guy I got to pull out on the day. I got somebody else who just it wasn't. I mean, it made me look great, but it didn't really sort of challenge me. And I was just a bit down in the mouth there. Really, I didn't really want to go out like that. So I've got a better opportunity now. I've always kept myself fit. I've always kept myself at a sensible weight for some time now. So an opportunity came up and I took it, really. And it's what I wanted to do. It's just one of the ticket lists. I like tick off the list. You know what I mean? Fingers crossed, it all goes well. I can win the title, and then I can say that I've done what I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean?
the thing is that the thing that's interesting is that how is it for you? Because obviously Muay Thai Mayhem, it's a great show. They've had a lot of great fights, and also as well, there's a lot of champions on that show. They have a lot of world title fights like ISKA world title fight, WBC world title fight. So this is not like a small show. This is not a small stage to be having your final fight on. How do you feel about having your final fight on a show like this, on a stage like this? How is that the perfect way to go out for you?
Yeah, I mean, Muay Thai Mayhem is an amazing show. I started my career on WCMMA. Well, I started my career years ago on a show down in Hastings, but then I had the opportunity to fight for Dave O'Donnell on WCMMA, semi-pro, then turned pro and fought in UCMMA. So I'm used to fighting on the bigger shows. So for me, Muay Thai Mayhem is a great show. It makes waves. There's a lot of great shows at the moment, but I'm honoured to be part of it, and honoured that John wanted me to be part of the show. So yeah, I'm looking forward to fighting on the show.
100%. What knowledge do you have of your opponent?
So from my perspective, I leave everything in my coach's hands. I've had a little look at him. He's a tough dude. He's fought more MMA than stand up. But I think it's going to be a tough fight. It's not going to be. I mean, I've finished my last two opponents, which haven't been great standards. So for me, this is a better test. I just need to make sure keep my head in the right place, trained hard for it. So yeah, I've checked him out a little bit, but I don't like to go into it too much. Otherwise, I just going to cuckoo. So I allow my coach just to look at it and tell me the game plan, and I'll just go with that.
You've always been like a fighter that like really fights with his heart on his sleeve. I remember being cage side when you fought many moons ago. I remember you fought what's his name? Is it Dontel Forrester, I think. You fought Dontel Forrester, an insane knockout. Like insane, yeah. And this was like early on when we didn't know much about him. The only thing we knew is that he had fought on some Paul Webster shows and got some highlight reel knockouts, and he was like doing really well. And then you guys went in there and fought. And when he started, I remember he started with like a spinning back kick or something, and we were like, we've got like a good fight here. Like Paul might be in trouble, and then you cleaned him out. And when you won by knockout, just the explosion of emotion from you after the fight, and that's always what I remember about you, like so passionate. How do you think, if this is like fairy tale ending, go out there, have a war, and then knock him out, which is what everyone would love to do, how do you think you're gonna feel once they raise your hand one final time?
I've thought about this a few times. Going back to that fight with Dontel's he's a great guy, very talented. I'd had a lot of backlash. I had a lot of trolls, a lot of naysayers, and so on and so forth. And like you say, I do fight with my heart on my sleeve. I live my life like that, really. So I allowed that to play quite a big part. I'd lost my dad. I was very emotional about my father. It was tough. I still have that picture now to this day where I was kneeling in the cage, and yeah, it was very emotional. And it will be emotional. Listen, win, lose or draw, it's going to be emotional because I've made the decision to sort of just step down. I need to warm up to get out of bed. I'm not getting any younger, so from my perspective, it's a young man's sport. Do you know what I mean? It really is a young man's sport. You come away with injuries, and it's not. I can't justify being out of work with big injuries. You know what I mean? So for me, it's definitely. I can never say never, but that's the plan. So it will be emotional, regardless of the situation, regardless of the result. It will be emotional. That's for sure.
Do you feel like announcing that you're retiring before the fight puts more pressure on you going into this fight?
It does now that you said that.
Listen, that's what I'm here for, baby. Do you know why? Because I know, Paul, you'll shine like a diamond. That's why I gotta put that pressure on your neck, and then I know you're gonna shine. That's why.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I tried to. I think because I've made the decision last year that fight was going to be the last fight. This is I haven't really thought too much. So yeah, I think, mate, I put pressure on myself every time I fight. It's not a natural thing for me, but for me, I did this to defeat the demons in my mind after losing my dad and so on and so forth. So it's an emotional roller coaster, full stop for me. So I always put pressure on myself. So I mean, 1 minute one minute I'll be thinking, yeah, I've got this, it's all good. Then the next minute I'm thinking, no, I'm going to lose. I mean, I hate it. It's the same thing, but for me, it's a whirlwind for me, whirlwind of emotions for me.
Now the thing is that I don't know how much you want to get into it. You can get into it as much or as little as you want to, but I know a few years ago you had some issues outside of the cage that kind of took you out of being able to compete. As I said, touch on it as much or as little as you want. And I remember that when you were back, I heard that you had a fight announced, and I was thinking, man, like, for him to kind of come out and go right into a fight straight away, I remember thinking to myself, man, like, how's he gonna look? What's he gonna be like? And I remember you came out there and put on a great kind of performance. But at that time, being away from the sport for the length of time you were, what kind of things did you learn about yourself in that time? How did that help you or hinder you mentally? Like, if you can talk about it, as I said, as much or as little as you want to touch on it.
So you hit the nail on the head about finding out about yourself. I think everybody needs to be on their own for a period of time to find themselves before they can be truly happy. Listen, everybody knows I was away for a couple of years. I made some mistakes, or I made a big mistake and paid for it. I was no angel. There were situations behind it that created it, but listen, it is what it is. I knew what I was doing. I knew the consequences. So, from my perspective, I don't regret it in any way, shape, or form. It's definitely made me a much better person. Like for me, I was if I had that not have happened, I'd have been in a very different situation. I believe that I was probably trying to be somebody I wasn't back then, and then you attract the wrong people. You surround yourself with people that aren't necessarily the right people for you, but you don't know that at the time. So from my perspective, I used it wisely. I took time for myself. I did some qualifications. I did some other bits and pieces. All I could think about. Whilst I was away, all I could think about was the sport. I had pictures up on my wall of me competing, and I wanted to get back to it. So I said to Alan when I was on a home league one time, I said, right, let's sort it out, get me something sorted. Not really thinking about it. So when what was that 10 minutes? When they announced that I got the fight, I was like, great, sweet. And then I came out and I struggled a little bit, like just in general, like day-to-day life, coming back into society. So she helped me really a lot to have my freedom. I didn't have to deal with a lot of people, so it's quite nice. The nerves, when I realised, I was like, yeah, brilliant, great, sweet, everything's wicked, and then it kicked in, and it kicked in quite bad.
But not to cut you off, I apologize, but it's so funny that you said that, because it's like I feel like you have to have competed to understand that. Like, you train every day and you're thinking, I really want to get in there, I really want to fight, and you really do. But once the fight is confirmed, there's something that happens to you where the reality of the situation kicks in.
What happened to me was my heart, I went, woo, 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 woo. Yeah, it was the reality of it, because in my mind I'm thinking to myself, I've been here for blah blah, it's all good. I didn't really take into consideration all the other emotions that went along with it, so it was that was a tough one. In fact, I remember in the ring, I froze at one point, and the ref was like, fight. I was like, I want to, but I can't.
you're like, listen, don't tell me, tell my brain. My brain is not reacting right now. The rest of my body is all ready to go, but my brain is just not, it's not agreeing with you.
Yeah, I felt like I was stuck in mud. I was like, come on, move, come on. I found that like you say, because I've been in the sport, I've competed before. I was like, I could get back to it, but I didn't take into consideration all of the other aspects around it, like all the other emotions I was having to go through and kind of like adjusting back into reality. So it was tough, but I enjoyed it. It was good. It was a good opportunity, and I thank Rory from CFS a lot for that opportunity.
Okay. So in terms of, because I know obviously we know each other from training down at Keddles. So I know you from there, and then I know you've trained in other gyms as well. But for this fight leading up, where have you done most of your work?
Since I've known you, my home gym is Keddles. I've always fought from Keddles. Scott Jansen. I've always known Alan for years. I mean, like, who doesn't know Alan? Do you know what I mean?
And everyone knows Alan because he's been around for so long and he's been everywhere. So
I was training and working out of a gym in Purley for a little while, and I met Scott Jansen, who I've done a bit with recently as well. And Scott said, jump in one of my sessions, come up to Keddles. I went, buzzing, I know Keddles, I know Alan from the circuit. So, and I remember this plain as day, I remember it. I always remind Alan. I walked in with Scott, and Alan was leaning on the rope. And Scott went, all right, Al, this is. And Al went, I know it is. And turned around, and I was like, because I'm sure, as I've experienced it, coaches see people come and go. They like you hear that they want to do it, and then they flake out. You never see them again. But I stuck with it, and Alan and I clicked. And he's way more of a coach, way more than just a coach to me.
Yeah.
I speak to him on a regular basis. I still like even after I finish fighting, I still be training on a weekly basis to keep my head. But sorry.
The dog agrees with you. The dog agrees.
Yeah. So the other half is now clenching the mouth. Kennels is obviously my home gym. Obviously, when I'm back in my area, I work out of my gym here. But that's just for fitness and so on and so forth. Fight-wise, is Kennels. He's been Kennels for many years. I've just touched base with Scott again. I've done a couple of sessions with him at Maverick, his place in Wallingham. But I'm forever grateful for Scott introducing me to Alan, because from that point on, I just sat there and brought it on.
Can I just say, with Scott, yeah, Scott's interesting because I didn't know Scott personally. I had never met Scott. The only knowledge I have of Scott is that I knew he fought on the UK circuit, and I remember that he fought Phil Baroni, and there was like a scuffle afterwards, with his brother and blah blah blah, etc. So the only time I had really seen him was that fight, and he's in fight mode, he's getting ready, and I thought to myself, man, like this is like a tough guy, this is like a mean guy, which he is, all of those things. But when I met him in person, I went down to Keddles and I see him in there, and it was like sparring day. Like, listen, just so everyone knows, I don't have no mad stories about how me and Scott Jackson went to war. I think we done like 2 warm-up rounds, and that's about it. But I'm not going to sit there and say, yeah, no, I chinned him and knocked him out. No, like, it's not true. But it's like, he's such a nice guy, like, such a nice guy, like.
He really is, and he has that demeanour about him. He's very calm, he's very collected, but you look at him and just think, yeah, I don't really want to get into it with you.
Yeah, no, 100%. Listen, he threw a hook, it missed my head, and I was like, listen, if he wanted to land that, he definitely could have, and I can't lie, I would have taken a nap, but just be like, listen, does anyone want to step in and finish this round if you want? Like, I don't mind, you can finish it with him.
Funny you mentioned the Phil Baroni fight, because when I met Scott, so I used years and years ago, I trained Alex Reed was my first coach. I went to watch him fight Tom Watson, and Scott fight in the same card. And I remember seeing Scott, and whoever I was with at the time, I was like, oh, that's Scott Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a bit of a fanboy. So it's just strange how things happen. Everything happens for a reason. Do you know what I mean? And going back to my past, everything happens for a reason because of where I am now.
Yeah.
But, I've got all the time to work with Scott. I'm eternally grateful for him introducing me to Alan, and then obviously the friendship I have with Alan has flourished as well. So Scott's a good guy, but yeah, he's a good fighter, very good fighter. I think we'll see him again.
Listen, he just needs one more, because guys like that, I feel like that they might not have the desire, but don't get it twisted. The skill set is still there. The skill's there. The power's there. Everything is still there.
Mate, even when he's holding a punch, I look at him and think you're scared of that, mate.
100%. But listen, cool. So
he has that demeanour.
do you know what it is? No, but it's good though, yeah, because you got a coach like that, yeah. You got a coach like that. You're thinking to yourself, listen, if I drop my hand, he's gonna swing, and it's not gonna go well. So I might as well keep this up, move my head.
It's the same with Alan. If I dodge one of his hands, in my mind, he looks at me and he's like, and I think, oh. I've come out of there with more injuries from Alan hitting the pads than I have from sparring.
Listen, Alan forgets we're hitting pads. He thinks it's a fight. That's why people that do pads with Alan, people are like, oh, like, this person's really good. And it's like, because you go and you have a fight with him. Like, I think, what do they do in Thailand? I've forgotten the Tiger Muay Thai. They have the tryouts and they have the pads that hit back. That is Alan Keddle. Alan Keddle is the pad man that hits back a lot.
And he loved it. When he connects,
100% he loves it.
You can see the fire in his eyes.
100%. But Paul, look, so Saturday, as you said, it's going to be your last fight, your final fight. I've seen you compete many, many times. We know what you bring. It's always a great fight, just fire, flames. And listen, as much as your technique is fantastic, so you're always viewed as a technical fighter. I've seen on more than one occasion that a knockout is definitely on the cards for sure. When this fight is over, how do you want people to remember your time in the sport?
That's an interesting question. I've never been. I found this sport very late in life. I don't. I wouldn't say. I wouldn't. I'm not a natural fighter. Like I said, I did it to defeat the demons in my head when I lost my father. I had to make some lifestyle changes. So from my perspective, I've never said I want to set the world alight. Do you know what I mean? Like I knew I was an older guy in the game. I knew there was a lot of youngsters that were very, very good. And Christ sake, look at some of the guys that train with them, like Haggerty and Gillian. And do you know what I mean? All these guys, like the stages they fight on, the titles they hold. Do you know what I mean? Even just being in their presence, I feel very honoured. So from my perspective, I just, if I've made any impact on anybody's life in a positive manner, that would make me happy. One person, don't care if it's, I don't, do you know what I mean? If it was just one person that I've helped or given some advice to that helped them in their life, sweet. One person, doesn't matter. If there's more, great. But if I've made any impact or helped anybody, then for me that's a positive. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to be known as anything other than a guy that's wanted to test himself or just found a sport that he loved and took it to heart.
I'll finish with two things I'll say there. Is number one, start coming into a sport like this at an older age. Anyone that knows that's gone into a gym for the first time or done anything, like, it's nerve-wracking, and to pick something up later in life and still saying that I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna compete and I'm gonna fight against the best guys.
Let me tell you something about that. Let me tell you the reason I started this. So I used to do a lot of pad work as a personal trainer. I started training because I needed to sort my head out. I really enjoyed the technical side of the fight game, and then people started saying to me, "Oh, I want to fight. I want to fight." And from my perspective, how can I take somebody through something had I not gone through it? Do you know what I mean? So I can get you physically, no problems at all, but I can't. Unless you go through it, I can't explain to somebody how you're going to feel mentally, how you're going to feel on the day, how as a coach I can help somebody. So what did I have to do? I had to do it. You know what I mean? And it was a scary prospect at the time. And that's so for me. I actually started it purely because to generate business in the gym to help me advance and be able to get better myself as a coach.
But I think that's a prime example of just you as a person. You were like, how can I help these people better? I'm gonna lock myself in a ring or a cage so that I can help people better. Listen, I'm down to help people, bro. I'm not trying to get locked in a cage to help people. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just to be clear, guys, I'm not doing that to help. But I feel like that is a prime example of just you as a person. And I think that's what so many people love. Like, anytime you fight, so many people come out to show support and show love. And I think that's one of the reasons why they know that you're a genuine person. They know that you're someone that's pure of heart. And I feel like, as you said, people that are starting things later can take inspiration from that. People that have gone through difficulties on the legal side, personal side, can take so much from your story. So I definitely think there's a lot more than one person that's been inspired by the things that you've done. And I feel like even outside of fighting, you're going to help and continue to help and inspire people outside of the cage as well. So I think we all look forward to that. And I feel like that's a perfect way to end it. For anyone that comes to see this, listen, Saturday, Muay Thai Mayhem, July the 1st, on Saturday. If you can't get there, you can watch it on MMATV.com. That is MMATV.com. I am Ahmed Tijani, Mr. Cray to the world. This is Paul Silver Dollar Dash. We are out.